Hello chess friends, welcome back to our YouTube channel. So in this video, we are gonna go through 5 excellent chess compositions, 5 made into puzzles, problems. And these ones are going to be very instructive and very tough as well. Not obvious at all. No obvious forced checkmate here. So here we go. Chess problem, white to play and checkmate in 2 moves. So try to crack it. Give yourself a few minutes. See if you can crack this beautiful chess problem. Here we go. Alright, so hope you got adequate time. Let's dive straight into it. The first move, it's obviously a mating two. The first move is going to be bishop to d4. A very tough move, obviously, because there are so many candidates. There are so many winning lines that it's really tough to find moves like bishop d4. This is not a move you generally like to play, but it's very logical. You put the bishop away from the queen's attack, and now no matter what black plays, it's actually a checkmate. For example, well, obviously the most obvious move, queen c2 check, can be answered with rook e2 interfering, and that is a discovery. That's a mate. All right, what else do we have? Queen a7, just attacking the bishop, can be answered with rook h5, double check. That there we have it, beautiful mate. Something like queen g7 can be answered with queen takes. If queen at 7, that can be answered with rook h5 again. Pin and win. There you go, you pin the queen and the bishop delivers the check. The queen controls everything else. Beautiful checkmate. Of course, bishop d4, it's tough to find because there are so many candidate moves, but it's this move bishop d4 that's the only winning move in the position. So that was actually the simplest problem which I had today. So let's dive into more fun examples. Of course, if you have solved something similar, then you will obviously find the composition to be easier. So let's dive into a second example now. So here you go. Here is an absolute classic example. White to play and win the game. Now this is something very typical in this kind of endgames. So go ahead, find the win for white. White to play and win the game. Alright, so here you go. The first move is obviously firecrackers, rook to h1. This is a beautiful move. Obviously, that's the reason I showed you this example. Otherwise, it would have been too dull. So rook h1, sacrificing an entire rook. What's the point? It looks like the rook and the queen are adequate defenders of the king, although the king is badly placed. Still, obviously, it's lost. So, what happens if king takes? In this case, you simply go queen b1 check here and queen h7. The idea of playing this was to go on the h7 square. That's a checkmate. Neither the rook nor the queen can interfere, and obviously, this is why the advanced position of the king is so important. All right, let's go back. Does it make such a big difference? Why not? Why not just queen takes? Well, it's possible to capture with the queen, but then we have a typical idea. Queen goes over here, queen takes rook on g8, and now it turns out that although black's queen is so close to our king, the black queen does not have a sensible check. It can't go here, it can't go here, and any other check doesn't win. It just loses the queen. So whatever he plays, for example, just moving the queen anywhere results into a direct checkmate. So all the best he can do is just give up the queen and struggle for a few moves, of course. But then it's anyway mate, right? So something like this, and mate next move here, here, or here. Easy peasy. But this obviously was the star move of the game. Rook to h1. Beautiful rook sacrifice. And remember this theme. I think this theme queen takes is in fact very common in king and pawn in games where the pieces promote simultaneously. But obviously, this is something I think you must have already known this. So, beautiful example. Let's dive into our third endgame example, third chess problem. So here is a mate into checkmate problem, white to play, mate into. Beautiful example. Again, it's all about the piece coordination over here. It's the harmony of the pieces. And we're going to see some very interesting checkmating patterns right now. So, white mates in two. Give yourself some time. Here we go. All right, so this kind of puzzles problems are my favorite because they teach us so much, so many things about uh, how pieces interact with each other, how they are wonderfully coordinating with each other. So here you go. The first move, if you have noticed, this is the only move that mates into, of course, knight to c3. Beautiful knight sacrifice. Now that's a beautiful move to start with. He has multiple options. He can go to c5, e5, e3, and obviously he can also take the knight. What happens if he takes the knight? Now this is the my favorite kind of checkmate. You just go to b2, and there you have a crossfire. Look at this beautiful attack. Of course, the queen is supported by the rook, and the beautiful thing is about this is the queen controls the last square, the bishop controls the right square. Perfect harmony. This is my favorite kind of checkmate. All right, he can also go to the square c5. Again, you see the beauty of this harmony. Queen b6. Queen controls this very critical the squares, and bishop controls over here. The knight controls the last escaping square d5. With perfect coordination, this is again a checkmate. All right, so king obviously can't go here, can't take here. What else? He can go king to e5, and now comes another checkmate. Very beautiful queen e4. The queen is perfectly placed with the help of the knight. That is the reason we need the knight on c3 to provide support, to provide anchor for the queen, and that is a nice checkmate. I don't know what this checkmate is called as. Not dovetails mate. Not it doesn't look like a Paulit mate as well. If you know the name of this checkmate, do let me know. I think it does have a name. All right, and the last kind of pattern we're gonna see occurs over here after king e3. The move is very simple. Simply queen e4. It's very similar to king e5, except that this time, as the king was controlling the squares, this time the rook controls this three escaping squares for the king. The king has nowhere to go. Beautiful harmony between the four pieces, pardon me. And of course, and so basically every single piece on the board right now, in fact, even the pawn helps. For example, in this checkmate, the pawn was the one who was helping the queen. In this one, king e5, it turns out that the king also has a lot of contribution in this position. So every single piece has a purpose of why it's being there. They have all a function, and in different type of lines, they are working in different ways. So really beautiful example, and I'm gonna put it over here. This is of course one of my favorite checkmates. So done with this, let's dive into our next example. Example number 4. Am I right? Yeah. So there we are, white to play, mate into. If you know the idea, then it's incredibly easy. You're gonna spot this one in just a few seconds. If you do not know this idea, well, it's gonna be incredibly tough as well. So it's all about if you already have this pattern in your head, in your mind. So that's the reason we are training for this. That's the reason we are looking at this ideas, this very instructive examples to train our pattern recognition and to understand more and more checkmating patterns. The more we know, the better we are at chess. So white to play, that's my dog. I think he's barking over there. So white to play, checkmate into, take your time and find this excellent solution. All right, so let's have a look at this. We have two pawns, and there is a reason I'm going to tell you why this pawn on b7 is also important. The major role is played by the d pawn. Now what do we promote to? If you promote to a queen, that's going to be tragic because that's an instant stalemate. All right, you can't promote to a rook with the same idea because it's still a stalemate. What about a knight? Well, that is going to be bad as well because after king f8 it still takes three more moves to give checkmate from this point on. So obviously that's not working. But of course, the king can escape from here, here, so many squares. You give him a lot of opportunities. So not knight this time. Generally, the beautiful point is to promote to a knight in most of the problems, but not here. The idea is to promote to a bishop. Now, why does this work? Well, first of all, it doesn't give a check, doesn't control the squares, and that's why it does not force a stalemate in this position. The king has options. He has one, two, three options. Each of that loses. For example, this, just moving the bishop away. Pardon me. The bishop does control the e7 square, the escape square. The same happens if the king is on g8, and the same happens if the king is on h8, like this. It's in fact a double check and a mate. So promoting to a bishop was the key idea here. Obviously, if you know this kind of problems already, as I said, it will take just few seconds to recognize the pattern. If not, then it's gonna take more. So let's have a look at our last example for the day. Beautiful one. So here we go. Well, what do I say about this one? It's white to play, mate in 3, and you're gonna definitely fall in love with this one. This is the last, and of course I've kept the best. It's the sweet dish. It's the beautiful problem I wanted to keep for the end, and this is really one of my favorite examples. One of my favorite themes. I don't know what theme it is. It reminds me of the problems of Fritz G. Gold. So white to play, mate in 3. Really, really delicious. What else can I say? It's beautiful example. So white mates in 3. Here you go. All right, can't wait to tell you the solution. It's incredible. I do feel that this is a Fritz problem because there is a single line. There is no variations for this. It's really simple and straightforward, and it reminds me of Fritz because it's giving up pieces. So 95 attraction. Basically, the king has, because we are controlling the squares, of course, every single square is controlled, the pawns are blocked. You force the king to capture. That's the only option he has. So he does. And here comes another pretty move. Rook e4. Wonderful. Again, pardon me. Let me just make the beautiful. Yeah. Again, he does not have squares. This is taken away. This is taken away. And the squares are taken away. Pawns are blocked again. So he is forced to capture. And here comes the point. Knight to c3 made. What a beautiful chess problem. This is I should have shown this first. I think it should have been the first problem. But yeah, really, really beautiful and really wonderful. I hope someday I'll be able to give a checkmate like this in my own games. It's a different kind of pleasure when you give a checkmate which is unique like this. In such a fashion, of course. So do let me know who was the composer of this. I do feel like it's Fritz. Looking at the thematic, the theme of this problem, but maybe it could have been someone else as well. So do let me know. I know that many of my viewers are also composers. They are excellent composers. So do let me know. Do educate me on these things. This is wonderful. So thank you for watching. Do subscribe to our YouTube channel. Until next time, see you guys. And let me just leave you with of course, let me just leave you with this checkmate over here. That's pretty. All right. So have a good day, guys. See you.